points on the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in November 30th, 2021, and they bought the dip. I don't know who they is, but there was a report that the Friday activity, you saw 6 times the amount of inflows, and if you look at how today played out, it would have paid off. But now here's the interesting part. This is the S&P 500, and you can see we're slightly below where all of the action started to occur, but the only real index that came up today was the NASDAQ. It looks slightly below, but on some metrics, people are saying that it has recovered. That's why tomorrow for the tech stocks will be key. But overall today, you saw an interesting recovery. A lot of the Omicron fears, I don't know, one of those, but the fears really did drop today. There was a lot more information. You got to hear from the vaccine makers, and even then, there was a lot of interesting news with those stocks we're going to talk about. But overall, you got a dip buy opportunity. Things are up. The premiums are a little bit weird, and we're going to have to talk about it. But where we go this week, it is going to be key, and we have a lot on this schedule to look for. So we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to go over everything that happened in the market today, what we're looking at tomorrow. Again, you're getting OPEC, Powell, and a lot of other things in data. And then we also got the plays. We made a couple of big biotech plays today. I'm going to go over some of them are crazy. We went after some of the ones we were looking at, and then we still had some earnings on the table. So we got that, and then the plays for the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it's pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch us come to life. And yes, if there's something motivational about Dockers water-resistant pants, then yeah, we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything? Post them below and source that info. Shout out to chat, baby. So, right off that bat, like I said, the market's calmed down today, but the volatility is still lurking. We are not out of the woods just yet, and even if you want to play on the upside, it's not as if I'm only looking for some downside plays. It is looking both ways. Things might get a little choppy here, and we could see that through the premiums and the indexes. So I already showed you this here in the beginning. When you look at all of the indexes, only the NASDAQ has recovered. So even though we saw a lot of activity today, it wasn't a broader market move up. It is not as if everything went up. And something even surprising, even though virus fears kind of went away a little bit, the go out and party stocks, the recovery stocks, those didn't really perform as well as Amazon or kind of some of those tech safe havens are the ones that bounced today. So that's the first part. And then the second part, if you've been trading options, I'm sure you noticed this today. Some of your options were up in the morning. The stock may have stayed up, but then the premium started to go down. So depending on the velocity, we need to talk about this. This is going to affect a lot of things. And now this is where some of that premium kill comes into play, but this is just highlighting the market is expecting a lot. A lot of the spreads are widening. Things cool down, but they don't start moving really fast. That will kill premiums across the board. So it's going to get a little bit more interesting, but overall today was chill. We are still going to be prepared for volatility. Again, there's a lot on the table for this week, so we're going to see at the very least today did eliminate that kind of immediate risk-off attitude, and the hopes of a Santa Claus rally are really just still in place. So with the NASDAQ and tech stocks doing good, people are still excited. Again, this is usually where things get active. We're about to start kicking it off here with December. The fact that we didn't totally freak out right now and it didn't continue into a down Friday, down Monday repeat situation, it's looking like an immediate risk-off scenario is off of the table. So coming to our first pretty picture, you could just see the volatility we've seen today, and today was a very big day. And now this is the question. Remember, we've seen this happen when this RPM meter ticks, but this is just showing you the daily moves, and this is the S&P's movements. Here is our biggest move today, and that's the biggest move in 6 weeks since October. And then what you saw a couple days ago on Friday, that was the worst move since the beginning of the year. So usually one of these moves, they kind of precede this back and forth, and this is that volatility I'm talking about, and it's going to really show. This week should be a little bit more crazy. So coming into the rest of the week now, you're going to be getting Powell and Yellen tomorrow. That will be important. You did get to hear from Powell today after hours, but like I said earlier, the velocity in the market is the key key to watch. Do we kind of stay choppy? Do we bounce around? But if we get a big move, you want to see the indexes get back to the levels we sold off from if it's going to be a bullish move, or if we do go down, the question is how fast do we go and how low? But velocity and how fast we make these moves, that is going to be key. If it really just makes one pop in the morning and then stays chill the rest of the day, versus kind of a slower movement all the way up throughout the day or a slower movement all the way down. So keep that in mind, but velocity is going to be a big key this week. Powell and Yellen, and then oil markets, they should start to position a little here, reacting to everything and getting ready for OPEC, but then the next 2 days, for the most part, just going to be Powell and then the biotechs. We made a lot of plays there. Tomorrow, you're going to hear from a lot of the vaccine stuff. They're giving a lot of updates and a lot of drug approvals, and we've already seen biotechs kind of dominate last week, so expect that to kind of dominate the next couple of days here, and then we're going to start flowing through the news cycle and events, and then see where we are at as December starts to kick off. But coming into the company news and events now, the first piece, I thought it was pretty relevant, and it had to kind of be reiterated here, but as of yet, there is no detected cases of Omicron in the United States so far. So the majority of any detected cases have been in South Africa. Other countries, it's like 1 or 2. We got some headlines, and the market didn't really react to them today, but I would say this is probably a big and important factor, especially if we are going to see another market reaction. I mean, some people are waiting for it, but maybe when we get landfall, we'll see how the market takes it. Otherwise, Omicron can be pretty bullish, but there was that. Then another thing related to the virus today, a federal court in Missouri, they blocked the Biden administration from enforcing the vaccine mandate in 10 states. Some people attribute this to clapping some of the vaccine makers because, again, they traded like they did yesterday. Most of them ended up closing green, but like you saw on Friday, they would gap up and then kind of sell off throughout the day. Surprisingly, NVAX got clapped, and some people thought it was because of this news, and even though this could have added pressure, the real issue with NVAX, there was rumors that they were pulling out of their FDA filing in the United States, so some people got worried, but then their spokesperson cleared it up and said they are. But for the most part, this news didn't really affect the vaccine makers negatively, and then a lot of them came out today, Myrna, Pfizer, and I even believe Merck or BioNTech, one or the other, but they were saying that they're going to be able to adjust very quickly, and they're not too worried about the virus so far. So that was somewhat positive, but there's been a lot of activity with the vaccine makers. We'll go over that with the plays, and then Powell, he had his statement there, the pre-recorded one, and then also his statement for tomorrow, but he does mention Omicron, and he said that it adds economic risk and inflation uncertainty, and now people are already talking, and you might start seeing moves, but traders are going to reposition some of those rate hike bets. This is going to be a key to watch, so we'll see what he says tomorrow. And then that info that came out today, there was the dip buyers who bought in. They bought $11 billion of ETFs on Friday, and this was 6 times the yearly average, so pretty wild to see there, but we'll see how that plays out. And then Meta, Facebook, they're postponing their ticker symbol change to first quarter 2022. I think it's going to be like MVRS or something like that, but I guess for now it'll be Facebook. And then we talked about this yesterday. Lulu fires back at Peloton. Remember, Peloton sued them, so this is key, but why I'm putting this up there, just watch both of these companies, because what you saw today, Lulu gave up some of the stay-at-home gains that it had the other day, or excuse me, Peloton did, but then Lulu with retail, that's going to be one to watch, so keep your eyes on both of those. And then Morgan Stanley, this is going to be key. I want to see how the market takes it, and this is related to that Powell news and everything with the new virus variant and if it's going to slow the Fed down. But Morgan Stanley said they see no Fed rate hikes in 2022 and that they see inflation moderating. This was from one of their research reports. I think it was like Andrew Green or something, but he gave a recommendation in there. He was pretty much saying short the 5-year, the inflation protected bonds, and then buy financials and bank stocks. So that one was interesting. And then this one today in the morning, Jack Dorsey, he is stepping down as the CEO of Twitter. His replacement, I can't say his name, but he is seen to follow in his footsteps, so not much change. The stock popped and then ended up selling off, so that was interesting. I would even watch Square too as a sympathy because Jack is also the CEO of Square, but there was that. And then there was an announcement today that the FTC is probing Walmart and Amazon and other retailers as far as supply chain investigation, and they're asking them to provide detailed info, but kind of funny because there was also a White House round table with like people from Walmart and all that, so yeah, weird. But there was that. And then finally, Amazon warehouse workers in Alabama are going to be getting a second union vote, but it's unlikely to move the stock. We saw it kind of throughout the day. Some people asked about it, but the reason is this is the second union vote, and in the first union vote, Amazon had an overwhelming victory. So pretty straightforward. A lot of everything was about the virus. We're probably going to be hearing about that, the momentum of the market, whatever Powell and Yellen says, and then how we close out the week with the data. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got 3 different stocks that I'm looking at. One is going to be a set because we have a lot of plays and we got to focus on that Santa rally as well as the winners from today. Again, today in the NASDAQ, those might be the leaders because not everything bounced. So that's the first part, but I did make a lot of biotech plays. We got 2 interesting ones that we're going to go over. There's going to be a lot of biotech events. Even Merck is on the table as well, too. We have that play, but it got clapped. But tomorrow, we're going to hear from the FDA on a host of a bunch of issues, so that's what leads in here to the first one. I made a play on BYFI today. I grabbed 400 shares at, I believe, around $13.80, but this is a biotech gamble. This is not like Longeveron where I kind of see some intrinsic value. This is simply playing an approval date. So tomorrow is the PDUFA. That's pretty much the deadline to which the FDA has to give them an approval or not. It's for one of their drugs here, and they've been around for a while, but essentially none of that matters. It all depends on the approval or not. If it goes good, stock will probably end up popping. If it fails, stock will probably drop 50%, maybe even more. It may as well just clap the company. You never know with these biotechs. So it's going to be wild. We should see movement on this in the morning, but I really like this play with it. We did do some research on it as far as the other institutions. I mean, I think it's about 30% institutional held, and Morgan Stanley and even BlackRock, they all have positions, whether it's $2 million to $20 million, but they're at a lot higher of prices. So I do like where we got in, and here's the position. It's about $7,000 here so far. I guess it went up here slightly after hours, but with this play, I'm pretty much expecting to lose half, if not all of it, if the FDA approval does not come in good. So this is going to be an interesting to watch. We should see it by tomorrow. So essentially after a report, I don't know if I would want to get into it. If there is some time in the morning, then we will definitely see. But that is going to be the first play. Then the second one, this one is absolutely wild. So we made this play today. It was OMA, and I ended up not even really liking the play. I was trying to snake the chain, then I put in a really crazy order, and I got filled, and then the stock started plummeting. It ran up, and it got halted, and pretty much there was news that came out today with like phase 1 drug. This is another biotech. They only have 1 drug, and they're at their phase 1, but there was news that the data leaked, and then we looked it up. You could even see on the recap, we found a breast cancer forum, and people were talking about it. That's where the original news came from, and we start looking into it. The stock starts dropping, the post gets removed from online, and then the company halts it pending news. But we found out here after hours, the company did say it was fake. Don't let people on Twitter try to fool you there. They kind of omitted that, but I saw some posts that were trying to show the other part. They said it's not authorized or was released by the company, but they did say it was fake. So the catalyst is still on December 8th. That is when they're supposed to be presenting their phase 1 data result at this breast cancer conference. So I think it could be interesting, but for me right now, I think this just made the whole story that much more interesting. So as far as the play, I decided to go with a OMA 45 call for January. I got them at $1.55, so a decent amount at the time. The chain was really broken. I didn't think it would fill, and then it did. They ended up dropping about like 30 to 50%. We'll see how the volatility is tomorrow, but I may even actually pick up some more of it. Like I'm saying, there still is a catalyst, and I just think this one is pretty interesting. So it had the pop and lock. Again, we've talked about this and kind of, they're more of a more recent IPO, so they haven't really had much going on, no offerings or anything like that, but they are just a phase 1 drug. So we will see how that one plays out. But that is the second play. And then finally, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and then I put Google and Micron because these are some of the plays I have, but all of the big tech in general, that is what you want to watch. Again, the NASDAQ was the only index to recover. They're going to be shooting for gains tomorrow. Either the NASDAQ is going to just start rocketing up and continue and go for those gains, or it may balance back and forth with the Dow, and then the Dow and S&P, they go up, and then the NASDAQ chills, but essentially, they are the one that is the winner right now. So all of the big name techs, they're pretty much running the show, and that is going to be the key. But the problem, like we talked about, is premiums, and this is what I'm saying because I grabbed some of these plays. I should have grabbed more time on the Micron. A lot of the chip makers went up, but anything on the weekly calls, those are down 95%. We got clapped. But then the Googles, we have a play on that one, but even though they went up today, that play is still down 5%, and I think it's because of the bid. You could see the ask is a little bit higher there, but like I'm saying, in general, not all of these went up too crazy. And what you'll even notice, like even Airbnb, they ended up closing green. We made money on this stock, but the option ended up coming down today, so they did play a little bit weird, and that's what I'm going to be looking for, is just to make sure that the contracts don't get too juiced, or that the contracts are actually kind of confirming, okay, we could play along long here. Otherwise, everything is still in the danger zone. But for the most part, I'm going to be watching those big tech names. Those are going to be the key. As far as everything else, I did make a couple of plays today. I did decide to go with the CRM in the morning. I mean, everything was bullish. I thought I would have waited throughout the day, but it was looking nice in the morning. I went pretty big, and I could have flipped it out for a lot more. I pretty much bought 20 of the 350 calls for January at 170. This is that pre-earnings run-up strategy. They report tomorrow after hours, but I held it for about 30 minutes, sold out at 190, got about a $400 net profit, but they ended up closing a little higher. I could have made like $1,600, but I didn't have to hold it all day. That was the best part. So if anything did flip on me, I would have been able to get out of it, but they ended up killing it. We will see tomorrow if it does sell off. There might be another double dip opportunity. Again, pre-earnings play, you're going to have opportunity there. So that was really nice, but I like that play. We flipped that one, and then I added to the Roblox. I decided to go with more shorter term ones, and I'm kind of hesitant on these. If anything, a lot of the recent losses we've taken, it's the shorter term ones, and we talked about it today. The ones with the premium like Micron, I should have just got some with more time and more premium instead of going for the cheaper ones, but that's going to be the thing I'm going to balance. These ones I plan to flip it, but Roblox, they did 5% today. They're looking strong. If things do look good, again, they're winner both before and after. I don't think they really got affected. It just kind of slowed down their velocity there, but going to be watching those. Both those plays went up, and the plays that we were holding from Friday, those are up like 8%, nothing too crazy, or 5%. The calls didn't go up as much, so, or 7%, but really just not that much. They didn't move too crazy, so watch out for that. And I think those are the only other ones besides the BYFI or the BYSI. Again, Beyond Spring, all these biotechs are confusing me, but I will be watching those. As far as everything else, Novavax, that play got clapped, and I was surprised. And again, they sold off a lot, but in general, I'm going to be watching Novavax, Myrna, even Pfizer as well, maybe even Merck, but I'm pretty much going to double dip on one of these. I might grab some Myrna to diversify. They're looking good here, but even the NVAX, I think it's going to be good pretty much. This is just that volatility with the news the day after. That's why I think Merck will be that much more interesting tomorrow, but for the most part, I think the trend over the next one or 2 months, and that's why I want to get more time, you're probably going to see these things go crazy, or we'll get a secondary pop, so not too worried about that. I'm actually even going to be looking at a lot of these coming into tomorrow, so watch out for that. OMA, like we said, and then Amazon, they're looking pretty good, but the bounce was kind of minor, and this is what I'm saying with some of these call options. Just watch the premiums. I mean, if this thing stays and it doesn't move substantially higher or lower over the next few days, this might start to look good on the premiums. I may want to make a play. We still have that old put. It came back to life and then died again today, so we'll see how that plays out. That's going to be dependent on the volatility. Then Uber, we've been bringing this up a lot. They're at this like danger zone here. If they do sell off, it could get pretty ugly, but if they do pick up, it could be good too. So keeping my eye out for them, but I want to see how they kind of stabilize coming into the end of the year with everything else going on. Airbnb, they had a nice bounce today. Again, travel fears kind of easing back and people not overreacting. I like it. I think they could just start going crazy. It's just a matter of time. Still holding those plays. Depending on how tomorrow plays out, we're going to see if we could get some of the Aprils or anything like that. And then Coca-Cola, I was looking at some of those other value plays we have. Remember, we went small on those. Those got clapped as we got the volatility, but then they look like they're in an interesting state here. Some of the value names, again, if tech chills out tomorrow, value may be a winner, so watch out for them. And like we said with the Peloton and Lulu stuff, but in general, watch some of those stay-at-home stocks and how they play out. Then Tesla, even Lucid, but Tesla's looking good here. We may want to make a trade in general, but even coming into the Christmas rally, tech and everything, if they've already been a winner and they're looking like a winner, you may see a lot of people pile in for the holidays, so keep your eye out for them. And then finally, TLT and the dollar. TLT was very, very weird today. The dollar did start to climb up today, and we're going to see how that plays out. Again, that is always one of those warning factors, and we'll see how it plays out, but we just need to see which direction TLT goes. You may get something out of Janet and Powell tomorrow, but for the most part, till we hit any new level, there's nothing there. It's kind of just this uncertainty where there's nothing good, nothing bad, but you still need something to make a decision, and now the volatility is wrecking everything on the premium, so you gotta stay focused and snipe. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember about the words you're saying then while you're waiting, baby. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.